Good morning, folks. Heading out to day 2 of a job that you're probably going to see some clips of here real quick. But I wanted to talk about what happened yesterday. Many times when I do estimates or quotes or pictures back and forth with people for mobile milling, one of the statements I make or one of the questions they have too, it usually always comes up, is where do you need the logs stacked? And my answer to them, for clarity's sake, is I need to be able to get the driver's side of a vehicle up to the logs or the log pile. Well, what happened yesterday was two things. One, it wasn't his fault. Two, it never came up. Customer had all their logs brought up from the back of their house in the woods and piled into the driveway. Well, unfortunately, the driveway is on the wrong side of the house, and the log pile had to be on, if I back in, had to be on the passenger side. I could have pulled in and gotten the driver's side on the log pile, but I ran out of driveway and I would have had to go down a hill, and it just didn't want to work out. So what I ended up having to do, which I showed after the fact, which I'll show again this morning actually doing it, but I had to unstack all the logs and roll them by hand across the driveway over to the house side, and then back in the mill between all the logs and get them all set up so that I could cut our load on the driver's side like I needed to. The message here is make sure you ask all the right questions or say all the right things when you're doing mobile milling, because this quote or estimate went flawlessly. Guy knew what he wanted. He does chainsaw milling on his own a lot of the time, so he's familiar with the process. He just didn't have the time to cut up this many logs. He said something like 22 or 23 8-foot logs. That would have taken him weeks and weeks and weeks of Saturdays to cut up. So did half of them yesterday. I'm going to do the other half of them today. But make sure, if you're doing mobile milling and you have a specific need for logs to be in a certain position, that it always comes up in the questions. I didn't even think about it when I was talking to this guy, but it all worked out. It just took a little bit of extra time and effort to get them moved. I was able to just use the cant hook and roll them across. Luckily, most of them were relatively round, so they rolled relatively easily. But yeah, we're gonna get back at it today. I'll take a little bit more footage of moving the pile. The pile yesterday was the same number of logs, they were just bigger in diameter. Also, since I've got you here right now, I need to ask a question. The last video I published, I put music in on all the silent parts because I record in time lapse. I don't know if people like the music or if they'd rather have silence, or I originally was recording sawmilling sounds and, you know, overlaying that on top of it. Just need to know people's preference, because I'm going to do this for work regardless, but I'm sharing it with you all, and whatever your preference is doesn't make any difference to me. I have to put something in there anyway. So let me know what you like, whether you like silence, whether you like music, or whether you like sawmilling sounds, and I'll see if I can accommodate that most of the time. Anyway, jump right back into more sawmilling here, and we'll talk at you later. All right, so I told a little fib. Yesterday the log pile was here, and I was gonna film moving it across the driveway to over here, but when I showed up, homeowner was already rolling the logs, so I couldn't really set up the video to get it, watch us struggle up the hill. But now they're on that side, mill's in the middle. We're gonna be stacking over here today instead of way down the hill. I guess you might be able to see it way back there, but we're gonna be stacking up here today. So finish getting set up and get started. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this one. We ended up with 170 1 3/4 inch by 8 foot long by from 6 or 8 inches wide all the way up to about 19 inches wide. Slabs is what he wanted, all in poplar and mostly sweetgum, which sweetgum's beautiful wood, but he kept saying he works with it all the time and it is a pain to keep flat. So if you're willing to put in the effort, it's a good thing to have. He was there tightening things down along with a helper, so I didn't get any shots of the finished product. So this is going to be an awkward video, but you know, you live and you learn. I appreciate you guys coming by and watching, and we'll see you next time.